What's up, everybody? Dalton here with GM Baptist Outreach. In this video you're about to watch, I interview Associate Pastor AJ Nichols, and we talk about how a Digital Tract campaign brought in over 200 first-time visitors into the doors of their church on one service. Not just 200, but they actually had 279 total visitors on that day. And in this video, we walk through all that they did for outreach leading up to this service. We also walk through church assimilation after the service is over, how many of those visitors actually came back and got grafted into the life of their church and their church family. And we talk about how before the service they had 215 to 220 averagely coming on Sunday mornings. And now, after this Digital Tract campaign, 2 months later, they are seeing an average of 250 to 260 regular attenders on Sunday morning. So that's awesome. Their church has grown by like 40 something people just because of this one service and through this one Digital Tract campaign. So I hope you enjoy the video. I believe you'll find a lot of value from it. But if you could, please like the video down below, share it with a pastor friend of yours maybe, but click on our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can be updated with all the new information we put out on church outreach, church discipleship. And if you ever have any questions for us, drop it in the comments, send us a message. We'd love to chat with you. But other than that, y'all enjoy the video. All right. All right, Mr. AJ. Well, I appreciate you hopping on today, and just as we talked a little bit before we started recording, but as far as everybody who's watching this, this is a case study call we're doing for the Digital Tract Ministry, just how the Lord's been using it, what the Lord's been doing at churches, because we have questions all the time. They'll ask things like this: well, does it even work? And so that's why we make these videos to just
Yeah.
let pastors hear with their own ears, just kind of how the Lord's been using it and blessing it. And helping churches with it. So before we dive in to talking about the details of what the Lord all did at your church, introduce yourself, who you are, and your church and everything.
Okay. I'm AJ Nichols, and I'm at Blessed Hope Baptist Church here in Jasonville, Indiana, out in the country. And I'm the assistant pastor here, and our pastor is Pastor Jerry Ross, and he is my father-in-law as well.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'm glad you said y'all are out in the country because that's another question we have. Do these things work in rural areas? And I pastor in a very rural area too. I tell people it's like a poke and plumb town. You poke your head around the corner, you're plumb out of town. So yeah,
Yeah.
we got one red light in it. You come in, you see the red light, you pass the red light, you're leaving the town. Like that's our
That's
area
us,
too.
man.
Yeah.
Population 2,000.
Yeah, yeah. Our town actually is right at a little over 1,000, but our whole county like is a bunch of woods and farmlands. I think if you was to do our whole county, which is like a 23-mile radius, maybe all the way around,
Yeah.
there might be like 16,000 or something around in the whole, like all throughout the woods, scattered. But we gotta run a good radius to get that though. So
Yeah.
so awesome. All right, so that's who you are. So let's talk about kind of the special day we're going to discuss, which I know y'all been running these digital tracks for a while now for different special day events, but we're going to kind of just highlight the last one y'all did that the Lord really blessed. Y'all had a phenomenal results with, which was Food Truck Sunday. They had just a special day Sunday. Y'all do that yearly, right?
Yeah, this was our second year doing it.
Yeah, okay. And
Yeah.
so just Food Truck Sunday, it's just a special day event basically. Y'all had 275 first-time visitors. Is that correct?
Yeah, 279. Yep.
279. I was
Four,
about to say, I
four.
thought I wrote that down wrong. Yeah, 279 first-time visitors. Now that
Yeah.
is just phenomenal, to be honest. I mean, you just don't hear about stuff like that much. And so God really, really blessed it. So let's just backtrack. Okay. So 279 first-time visitors to your church service. So let's backtrack to leading up to this service. What is all the different outreach methods y'all did? We know y'all did the Digital Tract Ministry. That's kind of what we're talking about here. But and we'll get into the details of maybe like how much ad spend y'all spent on it and everything for your digital tracks. But what are some other outreach things y'all did?
I mean, we did typical Solning, of course. So we had tracks that we had ordered for this day. And we we printed like some flyers, some big poster flyers, and had our people. We have a lot of small businesses in our area, and so we basically had our people go around to every business that they could and try to put up a flyer of the big day coming up about a month, I think 3 or 4 weeks out, something like that, close to around the time when we launched the ad, which was I think 3 weeks out. But they went around and put up as many as they could in all the different businesses and stuff like that that would let them. And then we did Soloning, and then I think it was the week of, we did kind of just blitz and some neighborhoods, but mainly parking lots. We kind of would go to parking lots and just put them on the cars, which was crazy because we had some people come the day before. I took out some teens and they were like, "Yeah, we were in a McDonald's parking lot, and some teen boys came up to me and gave me an invitation, and so we
Yeah,
went the next day with our family and stuff." And so some people came through that, and
that's
but I
awesome.
think honestly that was kind of, other than word of mouth, people talking, inviting, neighbors, family, friends, stuff like that. But mainly just, I mean, I'd say the biggest one was definitely Facebook ads. Was it?
When it comes to flyers, do you know how many flyers y'all dished out?
I think we only did. I want to say we did only like 2,500, maybe 2,000 to 2,500, somewhere in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good though. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah, so 2,500 flyers, that's about it. And then other word of mouth, church members just inviting folks. Then y'all ran your digital tracks, the paid advertising piece. So how much money did y'all put into those paid ad spend?
On Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
750, I think we did
So
700.
$750 to
Mhm.
generate a couple hundred visitors. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's phenomenal. I
that's
mean,
worth
I'd spend
it.
that every day. Yeah, I'd spend it
Yeah.
every day. I mean, I'd spend $1,000 to get
Oh,
15
man.
visitors, to be honest. I mean, so that's awesome. Okay, so as far as the breakdown, so like the breakdown of the visitors, I know you might not have this, but just an estimate in your mind, do you kind of know how many came from what, or is that kind of very hard to track? I mean, 279 visitors is very difficult to, find out who came from what. Like I completely get that. But maybe you have an idea in your mind of a rough estimate of how many came from flyers, maybe, and therefore you can kind of,
Yeah, because on our visitor cards, we have people put kind of how they heard about the church, and we have like things that they can click, like someone knocked on a door, social media, and stuff like that. And I'd say, I didn't write these down recently. That was, I think we did our big day. What was that? 7, 8 weeks ago, something like that, at least. So I'm going off the top of my head, but I want to say around 200 or so were from just Facebook or from
yeah,
Facebook. And we had some that were from, knocking on doors. I
for
think like
sure.
the best would be from just knocking on doors. And I don't know if necessarily, I don't remember if anybody had said like, "Oh, we saw a flyer posted somewhere." I don't know if that was the case. But what was really cool, I heard a lot of from people I talked to, was not only sometimes did people get a track because they were kind of confused sometimes how to answer the question, "How'd you hear about the
Yeah,
church? How'd you hear about the big day?" It was like, "Well, we got a track. We saw it on Facebook." So there were
yeah,
a few different ways they'd heard about it. And then I heard a coworker talking about it at work and stuff. And one
yeah.
one funny story was, one of our assistant pastors, he's the guy runs our Christian school. He's been trying to get a guy at our church bank to come to church, and he went in there to go and tell him while he was dropping off some money to tell him about the big day to get him to come. And as he starts talking to him, the coworker hears, "Oh, yeah, I got one of those flyers. I saw that on Facebook." And then the food truck Sunday, "Yeah, I heard about that too. I saw it on Facebook." And there was 16 people at the bank.
Yeah,
Everybody had already heard about it before he's trying to tell them about it, and they'd already heard about it from Facebook, or
yeah,
some of them gotten a poster or a flyer or something like that. And so it was pretty cool to see it all kind of just work together and just people seeing it everywhere,
yeah.
every time they open
That's
up their phones. And
Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest, to me, one of the biggest powers. I mean, obviously, you see a lot of visitors from the ads, but one of the biggest powers to me is just the awareness, the brand awareness these things get in the community. Because,
Mhm.
just like you just said, it creates a ripple effect in all of your other outreach. Door knocking, I mean, there's hardly a time that goes by we don't go out door knocking that someone doesn't say, I know you, I saw you on Facebook, or I'll be in the gas station and people will just know who I am because they've saw my face on Facebook. And,
Yeah.
yeah, it creates a ripple effect. And just to kind of double witness on what you just said, we actually had a fall fellowship Sunday. I guess it was about 3 or 4 Sundays ago. And we ran an ad campaign. They do like a trunk or treat like the week before in our town. That week before it was like Halloween was that Friday. They do like a trunk or treat the Wednesday or Thursday in the town. They shut off the streets and businesses will like set up booths and give out candy basically. It's like during the day though, and then at nighttime it
Mhm.
starts wrapping up. But our church is right in town, so we'll set up stuff in as well. And we had a bunch of flyers we were giving out for our fall fellowship Sunday coming up the next Sunday. And
Mhm.
yeah, I can't tell you how many people, we give a flyer to and they're like, "Yeah, we saw this on Facebook." It's like a
Yeah.
double witness
Oh, yeah.
and it just that brand awareness it brings, it just reaches so many people. I mean, because the
Mhm.
ads on average, if you're spending especially 750 for a 3 week long ad, I mean, you're probably
Mhm.
reaching 600 people a day with your ads, and
Uh,
so that's a lot of people. For
And
sure.
actually, I think it was only 2 weeks. We ran it for 2 weeks, not three.
Yeah.
The
2 weeks.
year
That's
before, the year before we did three. This year we did 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks is even awesomer, man. Two
Yeah.
weeks, $750 and 200
hmm
visitors. That's awesome. Awesome. All right. So when it comes to the special day, 279 for some visitors, probably about roughly 200 or so came from the Digital Tract campaigns. We talked. You mentioned a little bit about this beforehand. I do want to bring it up. As far as retention, how is retention? Because a big question is, well, how many people actually come back, and we discussed a little bit about this. Do people come back when you run these types of campaigns? And so, yeah, as far as in your experience, you was telling me y'all had a good bit come back. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I think this is our let's see, 2 years now. We've been doing the campaign ads through you guys with your guys' software and stuff, and we've seen a good amount of visitors, come from them, but we hadn't had a ton of returning visitors as far as the weeks after, and people just kind of sticking. And so I kind of was trying to reevaluate, like, why are we just visitors in general?
Yeah,
Why are we having a hard time getting people to stick? And so I kind of we were talking about this a little bit ago. Looked at us and like I feel like we're to blame. Why are people
yeah,
not staying? And well, I kind of started to realize that as a church in general, our pastor is great about making visitors feel welcome and but as far as the rest of the church, I felt like visitors would kind of slip in and slip out, and not a lot of people would really greet them, make them feel welcome. And so that's something that me and Pastor had talked about before we got into this campaign was, man, if we're going to spend all this money, we're going to put all this effort into this. And man, we may get a lot of visitors to come, but man, like, can we get them to come back? What can we do? And so I think one of the biggest things was really preparing our people for it. Not just this big day, but anytime we have visitors coming from
yeah,
now on, like I think a year and a half ago, we started doing like visitor gifts. And so we give a gift card in a visitor bag and have a gift for every visitor. It also is kind of an incentive for visitors to actually fill out that card and give it back to you. So
yeah,
we have them fill it out and say, hey, at the end of the service, if you turn that in at the welcome desk, we got a gift bag there for you that has a nice gift. And so that's been really nice to do for visitors. But we're talking about a welcome team or a hospitality team of people, and we expanded the team bigger for that particular Sunday and had a bunch more people that have, it's out of their ordinary to go and just greet people.
yeah,
And so, I mean, we had people all up and down the ramp coming up to the front door in the building, just kind of greeting people. I mean, we had so many people coming. It was insane and more than
yeah,
we were prepared for it. I mean, it was so crazy that I think the Lord gave me this, but I had no plan for parking beforehand. And Saturday afternoon, it was like the Lord said, you might want to have a plan for parking because this could get chaotic. And I'm like,
yeah,
I asked the guy last second, hey, do you think you could be out here directing parking? He was like, oh, yeah, sure. I said, we can have them park on the grass if we need to. Let's have visitors park up front. I mean, last year, I mean, the biggest we've had in a while was 70 visitors, and we thought that was crazy.
yeah.
And so, anyways, he's out there. And I mean, he's about to pull his hair out because it's so crazy.
It's just,
We had at one
yeah,
point, we had like 30 cars lined up on the road because he's trying to get them in and trying to figure out. He has no one helping him. He's out there by
yeah.
himself. And he's trying to like, I think there's parking behind the building. Go over there. And I mean, he's
He's like,
like,
this is a terrible job. I
oh
should have
my
never
goodness.
chose
At the
this
end, he's
job.
like, listen, if I'm doing parking next year, I need 3 or 4 people helping me. We need
Yeah,
walkie-talkies. He went out and bought a super nice professional walkie-talkie system and was like, we're gonna do this the right way because man, he's just like, there's so many people coming in. I didn't know where to direct them. And I'm like, hey, that was a good problem, man.
that's awesome. Yeah,
We didn't know what God was gonna do on this day. And so I think hearing people when I asked them, like talking to them afterwards and stuff, people that start sticking, man, the main thing that came out of their mouths was, man, this church is just so friendly. I've never been to a place that I felt more welcomed than this church ever. And she's like, some people are like, I've been to church my whole life, but I've never come to a church and felt so welcomed. And like, you guys just served us. Every detail was thought of. And so I think we just really tried hard this time compared to any other big day we've ever done to really just focus in on how to make people enjoy it, feel super, super welcome, like we're spoiling them. and like they are the center of our attention this Sunday. It's not about us, it's about them. And so we really worked on our people hard on that and really preached that. I mean, Pastor preached a few messages kind of about it and
Yeah.
how Jesus treated people and stuff. And then, but really in announcement time, just talking to the people and kind of getting them prepared for that. And then it was neat just seeing people that I've never really, I've only been to the church here for like 2.5 years now. And some people are quiet. I never hear them talk too much. I've talked to them a little bit, but then putting them in a role of, hey, can you be a help with the hospitality team? And
Yeah.
all of a sudden they're like super good at it. And I'm like, man, why have we not been using you like for a while to do this? You're great at this. Like, my
Yeah.
goodness. It was neat seeing people like being used of the Lord and them realizing like, wow, the Lord, like this is a gift the Lord's given me. I enjoy doing this. And so we just kind of added people to our greeting team, and every week we've been having people in the church invite some of the visitors for lunch after church on Sundays. And so we've been doing that, having people come, and it's just been neat seeing so many families just kind of
Yeah.
get in. And
Yeah, that's awesome. So y'all have had several visiting families this time around, then come
oh
back.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, a
awesome.
lot. Yep. I
Yeah,
can't even name them all off the top of my head because there's so many right now. There's some
yeah,
that have been like ultra faithful. They have come like every service, since, and then started even coming to our Wednesday night services, Sunday night services. But then you've got some that have kind of, maybe they've come every other Sunday or something. And so there's been
yeah,
so many that have kind of, over the last, I can't remember how many weeks it's been, 8, 9, 10 weeks, something like that. That have just kind of been sprinkling it in. But then you've got a bunch that have been faithful, and so it's been so awesome to see. It's been the nice thing about having a greeting team is, or whatever you want to call a hospitality team, is that when you forget names, someone will
yeah,
probably remember their name. Like, oh
yeah,
no, it's John. Like, and so
for
it's like
sure.
nice to be able to even for a pastor, because he's kind of gets overwhelmed. Like, man, I don't want to forget all these people's names. So he's able to come
Yeah,
talk to us that are kind of all on the same team, and even inviting people or going and visiting people. And we've all been having them over to our house for lunches and stuff. And so we've kind of all be able to help each other remember people's names, since we
yeah,
don't have a picture next to a name.
for
And
sure.
all of it together has been helping us be a better, host as a church, to our visitors and guests that come. And then now it's funny, the people that have been coming faithfully are like, we can't wait till next year because we want to help you guys next year when it comes to the food truck Sunday big day and
Yeah.
stuff. So good, because we need it.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
yeah, I completely agree. I think the hospitality team piece is something that, especially if I could say among Baptists, I feel like especially, that's a piece that's missing. I think some people are
Yep.
like, I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's just not something that is really considered. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, when we implemented one about a year ago or so, like we were talking beforehand, and it
Yep.
was a game changer. Yeah, just having people that had an actual job, to greet visitors and to try and
Another
help visitors
ministry.
have that
Yep.
experience.
Yep. I
Yeah,
think it's one of the best things we've done in a while. And I think our people have loved it. And then it's just the result has been just awesome. And I mean,
yeah,
it's exciting for your church people when they invite someone to church, or when we get visitors. Your church people always love when there's visitors, but it's really neat when your visitors are returning and
coming
keep.
back. Yeah,
It's like, wow, this is awesome. And
yeah.
it just adds new life and into the church that just keeps excitement, rather than seeing
Okay, real
this.
quick, I just want to hop on here and tell you that GM Baptist Outreach is who sponsors this video, and I want to give you a brief description of who we are. So we help churches reach their communities and bring visitors in the doors of their church every single week with what's called the Digital Tract Ministry. And we're working with churches all across the country. We have 170 plus churches we're serving in rural areas, populated areas, also in 5 different countries around the world. And so it's amazing what God's doing with the Digital Tract Ministry, and we would love to help your church set this up as well. And so if you're curious about it and you want to know more about it and what it looks like set up for a church, you can find a demo video in the description of this video. You'll find a link to sign up for a demo video that walks you through the exact process of the Digital Tract Ministry. It also walks you through the financial side of things of what it looks like set up for a church. And so with that being said, super glad you're here. Sign up for that. Make sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's going to allow us to put out a lot more valuable content for churches to help them with outreach and discipleship. So go ahead and enjoy the rest of the video, and we will see you on the other
Same
side.
faces every single service, and no one
Yeah.
else add to the flock, if you say. So it's been an exciting time. I've heard so many people in the church that have been coming here for a long time said this is probably their favorite campaign we've ever done, and just the best results they've ever seen, just returning of all these visitors. And so it's really neat about the Digital Tracts outreach software is being able to have all those contacts, you
Yeah.
know, in our system that I'm able to reach out, and I'm kind of the one who runs all that. But I'm able, after we had our big day, I was able to reach out and send them all, a digital flyer for the next Sunday, what the next big day was going to be like, invite them and have conversations with them, just kind of keeping in touch with them.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was time consuming because we had so many visitors and so many people sign up, but
Yeah.
man, worth it. And I just kind of just locked in and dedicated my time to the visitors for a good long while of just messaging them, keeping up with them. And if they had prayer requests that they had just randomly sent me, like, man, following up with them and just trying to let them know we care about them. And if we missed them in a service, trying to get them to come to the next service. And it's funny because people would come and they would know my name, or they had seen me on one of the ads, so they kind of knew who I was.
Yeah.
And, and some people didn't come to the big day, the first big day, but they had signed up for it. And then they came to one of our other Sundays and they're like, I'm so and so, you were messaging me. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Hey,
right.
AJ. Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. I knew that's who you were.
Yeah, I thought I knew you. Yeah, you
Only
sounded
knew how many
familiar.
people I was texting.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah, I'm the same way. From these ads, they get there like they know you, but you don't know
Yeah.
them. You know what I mean? Because you was texting several of them. Yeah, that's awesome though. No, and I'm glad you mentioned that just about the effort you put into engaging with them in the software as far as texting and stuff. Because yeah, we tell people that all the time. Like, follow up. The fruit is in the follow up, and when it comes to some of that, it just takes work, and some people aren't willing to do the work.
Yep.
And I think churches are the world's best at letting people fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
And so no, yeah, and that shows exactly why a lot of people's coming back. Y'all are doing work, putting effort into doing it and stuff. And so absolutely. And I know we mentioned beforehand, just to kind of go back to that retention piece. I know you mentioned beforehand, you said before y'all was kind of running around 200 to 215, and you said since y'all's big day, y'all have kind of averaged around that 250 to 260 kind of mark.
Yep. Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
averaging probably 250. And we've had a few days around 270 or something like that, and
Yeah.
80. And the crazy part too is my father-in-law, who's the pastor, he wasn't there. He left after our big day um for some preaching trips and stuff. So he missed 3 weeks of the campaign. And which you would think would, like, you'd have a hard time getting people to come back and stuff if the pastor's not there and stuff.
Yeah.
And the reason behind that is because I'm in line to I'm gonna become the pastor here in the next few years, and so he's purposely leaving so that people are kind of coming to me for questions and
Yeah.
putting me in charge of stuff, and so that's kind of his reasoning behind that. But it was just neat to see the Lord use the whole campaign to really just get these people locked in. And honestly, that was our first time ever doing the biggest day of the campaign first, and then seeing all these visitors come afterwards. I thought that was
Yeah.
honestly, and we didn't plan that on purpose. The reason I worked that way was because my father-in-law already had preaching arrangements lined up, and he said, if we're gonna do it, we need to do it the first Sunday because that's the one I'm gonna be at. And so we did that, and then it was like really neat because we got all these visitors, but then we had a like really good reason to invite them for the next Sunday. You guys want to come for this Sunday? We're going to be doing this and this, and then all the naming all different things. And if they missed
Yeah.
that, don't worry. The next week we're doing this, and so it just gave us, and it just works so good getting people to come back because, some people may be against, um, advertising things for people to come to church, but hey, the Lord used it in the Bible, and I think it works great. And man, people, I mean, we saw in that one Sunday, we saw, trying to remember off the top of my head how many it was. We saw 44 people get saved
Wow.
on
For
that
the food
Sunday.
truck Sunday?
On the food truck Sunday. We saw 44
Man.
people get saved,
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
I think what was it? 28 of those were adults in the main service.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was pretty awesome to see that many.
Yeah.
And then just seeing people the next Sunday after that, we had a bunch of returning visitors, and then we had some others come that had signed up for food truck but didn't make it, and then came the next week. And in the main service in the auditorium, we had 13 more adults get saved in the next service.
Wow.
And I had
And
some
that's when
kids.
your pastor wasn't even there, right?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right?
That's awesome. That's
And
really awesome.
so it was
Yeah.
in the campaign alone, I think altogether in 5 weeks we saw 80 people get saved.
Wow.
And it was just neat seeing so many visitors come. And our church was just on cloud nine every single
Yeah.
week. What? These people came back? They actually like us?
Yeah. They actually like
Hey,
our church. Hey, that's a
when
new
we're
thing.
friendly,
Yeah.
they'll come back, And I think
Yeah.
people don't realize it, but by being quiet and not talking to visitors, you come
Yeah.
across as standoffish. And it's not because you're trying to be like that, or you're just, it's out of your comfort zone to go talk to a bunch of new people, make them feel welcome. And, but when people have really got out of it, it was so cool just sitting back and watching our people make the guests feel so welcome and then develop connections with all of them
Yeah.
and exchange phone numbers and go out to coffee together and just all of a sudden have these relationships with one another,
Yeah.
which like a pastor, it's a lot of work for a pastor to get all those connections with people, but when you can get your church members to start jumping in and making those connections, it just really gets people to want to be like, man, I want to make this my church. This is my new
Yeah.
home. And so,
For sure. Yeah, I heard a preacher say this a long time ago, and it's always stuck with me. And we've always pushed it at our church, kept people this in people's minds. But and it sounds very simple. You may have heard this before, but people need Jesus, but they want friends. You know,
yeah.
and we know they need Jesus. Everybody needs
Yeah.
Jesus. We get that, but you'll be amazed at how many people want friends as well.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you might could give them Jesus, but if they don't get any friends at your church, they might not ever come back. It's
Yeah.
the relationships that keep people there. And so yeah, I mean, you got a very small window to get a relationship established. And even if they're lost, get that relationship established, they keep coming, and then they'll get Jesus eventually. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he made that statement, and I just always
That's
stuck with
good.
me.
Really good.
People they want friends, they need Jesus, but they want friends, and sometimes they don't know what they need, but they do know what they want. They
Yeah.
want community, they want friends, and they might find what they need when they get there and get some friends and get established. So
Yep. People have an expectation for the pastor, like
yeah,
he better be friendly or else we're
yeah,
definitely
right.
coming
We
back.
gonna kick him out. Yeah,
Yeah. If like these visitors, when they come to your church, it's like if the pastor's not even that friendly, we're definitely not coming back. And
yeah,
if the pastor's friendly and make them feel welcome, there's a better chance of them coming back. But when your church people are really friendly and welcoming, man, I just feel like the chances of that person coming back is way higher because
yeah.
the whole congregation is on the same page together and just really working together to make people feel welcomed and like we're not in cliques, everybody's welcomed here and
Yeah.
stuff. We don't
For
judge anybody.
For sure. Yeah. I'll tell you a blessing that I got the other day at our church. We had a young couple in their 20s with a new baby visit the church. It was like, this was just, I guess, 2, 3 months ago. Visit the church. The I was there. I preached that Sunday, met them, very nice couple. They actually found us on Google. They just saw
Oh,
our Google, or no, they drove by our sign. That's what it is. They drove by our church and they saw our church there. They looked us up on Google and researched us a little bit, and they came and visited us. And anyways, got to meet him. Very nice family. The next Sunday, I told him I'd invite them out to eat. I was like, I'd like to take you out to lunch afterwards. And kind of like how you said, a lot of your members, you encourage them to take people out to lunch. Well, we actually have like
mhm.
a policy at our church to where if a church member takes a visitor out for lunch, that the church will reimburse them if they buy their meal. Reimburse them
Mm,
for both meals. We'll pay for the member's meal and pay for the visitor's meal.
that's
And
neat.
just to encourage them to kind of go out and not feel like they're strapped financially, they can't do that. No, well, the church will pay for it. And
Yeah.
so we've kind of got that, really pushed that. A lot of our members know that, and so we've always been real big on that. And so I invited the family out to eat the next weekend, and the family, they was like, yeah, let's do it. And so I ended up being out of town that next Sunday. I completely forgot I was going out of town, and so I felt so bad because I told them I'd take them out to eat, and I didn't realize that was the Sunday I'd be gone. So I was out of town, but that visiting couple did come, and they came, and I texted them that Sunday. I said, man, I hated I couldn't make it, or I'll text them that Monday or something. It was like the day after church. I was like, I hated I wasn't there. I completely forgot we had to go to town. I know I told y'all we'd take you out to eat. If y'all can come this coming up Sunday, I'd love to take y'all out to eat. And the visiting family texted me back. This is what was so funny. They was like, oh yeah, we'll definitely be back this coming up Sunday. and we'd love to go out to eat with you, but we've already had several other people invite us out to eat too. And so we'll just have to see how it goes when we get there. And so what happened is there was like two other families in our church invite that family out to eat. And so
Wow.
they had like three different people invite them out to eat. And so what we did is we ended up all going together. So there's like
Oh, that's
me, the other
cool.
two families, and the visitor family went out to eat afterwards.
Wow.
But it
That's
just blessed my heart, just as a
proud
pastor that
pastor moment right there.
yeah, I wasn't even there, but I got these people in our church inviting them out to eat, trying to get the relationship established. And so
That's awesome, man.
so it's very powerful. Yeah, no, I think it's phenomenal. And that visiting family's still coming. They've been coming
Wow.
every single Sunday.
That's
So
pretty cool.
so yeah, no, well, that's awesome though. Just to recap the big day, 200 something visitors, just what God's did. I mean, 80 something people saved just kind of out of a whole thing of it,
Mhm.
between the weeks afterwards, 80 something people saved. Some people don't see 80 people saved in 10 years,
Yeah.
and so that's an amazing thing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So as far as we'll kind of start wrapping up here in a minute, but as far as like y'all's experience, I know y'all this isn't just the only digital track campaign y'all have done. Y'all have done several others over the
Yeah.
span of a year and a half or so, for different days and different things.
Yeah.
But just as far as your experience with the digital track ministry, clearly the Lord's been using it at your church and stuff. But do you think this is something that like you would recommend to like do you think churches should be doing this? Because that's a question we have all the time. We'll have some people say, well, it might work in their area, but I don't know if it'll work in my area. I can't tell you how many times we hear that. And just so anybody knows, we have churches in populated areas, rural areas. We have churches in very liberal areas, very conservative areas, and so we hear all kind of excuses on why it couldn't work in their area. But yeah, just in your experience after y'all have tried it, like your just complete testimony of what you think it's something that is valuable that churches need to be using.
Yeah, it's funny because our church here, I'd say a big chunk of them don't have Facebook and kind of, maybe kind of against it,
Yeah,
Uh and so like the thought of, and even our pastor was like that for a long time. He got a Facebook, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. But he's not a big fan of Facebook in general and stuff and
yeah,
all the drama and stuff that happens and stuff on Facebook. And so when I heard about your company, I was like, man, this would be awesome. We've had a church Facebook account, but there hasn't been a ton on it. I've tried to. I just moved here 2.5 years ago, and so me and my wife have worked really hard to try to bring some life to the Facebook account and stuff, and kind of show people what's going on in your church. And so I remember talking to Pastor about it, and he was, told him how much it was going to cost and everything, and he, I think if it, there was, I think it was Josh Carlisle, Josh Carlisle.
yeah,
He had just preached at our church. And so I told it to pastor and he was like, let me think about it. And he never heard about it before. Well, Josh Carlisle was at our church preaching a teen service that next week, I think it was. And so he talks to pastor about it. And he was all like, man, have you ever heard of GM outreach? And he starts telling him all about it. He's like, AJ was just telling me about this. And he's like, oh man, it's awesome. He's going through telling him all about it.
yeah,
Meets me again. Okay, maybe we should do this. He's like, let's do this. So I met with him and he said, yeah, let's commit to 1 year of this and just see how it goes. And after a year, we'll kind of reevaluate and see, was it worth it or was it not worth it? And obviously after 1 year, he was like, yeah, that's worth it. Let's keep doing it. And now he's even
yeah,
more,
yeah,
up for it. But it's our church people, I think they were very skeptical at first. I remember having to get up there and make that first announcement of here's what we're going to be doing. Here's what we're going to be really trying to use Facebook. Those of you that have Facebook, if you can start sharing stuff that's going on at the church and just trying to get people to kind of, let people know about your church,
yeah,
seeing we post stuff about stuff that's going to church, try to post it and stuff on your page because you've got a community of people that follow you, coworkers, friends, family, neighbors, all that kind of stuff. And they may not follow the church, but they follow you. And if you're sharing stuff, and so we try to get the people all on board with that. And I think people were a little skeptical at first, and then they started seeing visitors come in the door, like, whoa, like the
yeah,
Lord used this, like He is using this. Like we didn't invite them, I didn't invite them. They found
yeah,
about the church on Facebook and stuff, and it really like opened our eyes, or the church people's eyes to it. Like, man, this is awesome. And it's just, I think it has grown. And I think what we have found is I think it works the best. I mean, Facebook, I think ads in general work the best when you have something that you're not competing with all the other churches in your area on at the same
yeah.
day. You know, we've done it
Yeah.
for Easter, and we'll continue to do it for Easter because it's, you know, big service. But we haven't had our best results with Easter just because every church is, you know, doing
Doing
stuff.
Easter.
Easter. We still get a bunch of visitors, but when we did this food truck Sunday the last 2 years, it's been our biggest day, and no one else is doing anything. We're feeding people for free. I don't know if you've seen any of our pictures or anything or videos, stuff like that of it, but
I
it
think
was a
you,
day we kind of
yeah.
created on our own where we create all of our own food trucks and we make all the foods. We have families that are in charge of a truck and they come up with whatever idea they want. They build the truck and then they cook all the food and then we have put people on their team and stuff like that. So I think we had 6 food trucks. We had a lemon shake up truck. And so we had all these different trucks and people serving food and stuff. It was a lot of people. I mean, we had what do we have? Around 600 people on the ground, something like that. And so there's a lot of people to feed. But I mean, we decided to start doing a yearly thing. So now it's
Okay.
becoming something that people know on the calendar, man. First or second week of September, man, that church, they're going to be doing that big food truck Sunday.
Yeah.
And so you think you've got that going in our favor now. And especially in a smaller community like this, man, word spreads and
So
people might,
question, yeah,
yeah,
question real quick. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I actually normally do ask this question about what y'all had going on that day.
yeah,
So food truck Sunday. So this isn't actually food trucks. Y'all are actually paying a business to bring a food truck in. This is
yeah.
like made food trucks. Like they're like
Yep.
what, building like plywood kind of fake food trucks or cardboard
Yep.
food trucks or something.
Yeah,
And people can come by and there's decorations and somebody standing
Mhm.
behind it and giving out food.
Yeah, I'll send you the video of it. It was
Oh
pretty
wow.
legit. One of the food trucks was made out of a silo. A guy literally went and got a farmer to donate. I can't remember if he bought it himself or he got it donated, but a big
Yeah.
silo, and it was called the silo, and they were serving ribeye sandwiches out of it. It was sweet. He like made it like with countertops inside of it and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've had some people that just like they've decided to do a truck every year and they're in charge of it. But then we put like some other families that work with them and help them build it and paint it or whatever. And but yeah, plywood ones,
Wow.
uh,
Yeah.
just all
That
sorts of different ones that people have done. And
that's awesome.
it's a lot of work, but man, it really like brought our people rallying together and working together. And you would think like it would have worn them out to where they're just like, no, not again. But the cool part about it was not only did we do it on the Sunday morning service, but we had so much extra food and extra desserts like deep fried stuff that we could do that in the evening service we after service we all went out where the food trucks were and kind of served ourselves, you know. Like we'd
Yeah.
all again kind of on a lower scale, but everyone got a bunch of good food and then like deep
Yeah.
fried Oreos, deep fried Twinkies, and you know,
Wow. So
all that kind of
Oreos. So tell me what.
stuff.
So this is interesting. I didn't know it was like set up like that. That's pretty cool. So
Mm,
who's buying all this food? Like the people aren't buying it. You said the food's all free. So did the
yeah.
church buy all the food for people to be making at the food trucks?
So leading up to the Sunday, we throughout the year we raise money for it. So we have like special offerings where we're raising money for it.
Yeah.
And so I think in total, um, if you count everything we spent money on, advertisement through Facebook and flyers and you know gifts because we bought gifts for 279
Yeah.
visitors, you know, that was a lot. And then all the food and everything, and then the building of the trucks. We gave people money, like a budget, you know, for them to build their truck with. I think in total we spent like $6,000 on the
Oh, that
Sunday.
ain't bad.
But the neat thing about like all the money that was spent on the food trucks building them, we're going to keep those for a few years, like so they're not changing them, and so the cost will come down on that quite a bit.
For sure.
Uh,
Well, I mean, $6,000 ain't bad at all. I mean,
yeah,
number one, it's a great day of fellowship, unifies your church, but and you've seen 279 visitors and $6,000 incorporated
yeah,
all that. That's great.
yeah. Our
Um,
church was like, we'll do that again.
yeah, for sure.
We'll
No,
definitely
I mean,
spend that again, no problem.
yeah, that's not bad at all. So, man, the food, I was thinking the food would be a lot more, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or just calls for the
Yeah, I
food and
think
stuff.
buying it in bulk and cooking it all ourselves definitely saved a ton of money.
Kind of money, yeah.
My brother-in-law in California, who uses you guys as well, Stephen Becker at a Regency Baptist Church, where I used to work at, they did the same Sunday, and they were going to do the same way, but then a bunch of stuff happened. My brother, who's the big builder in the church, he broke his two of his feet. and a bunch of
Golly.
stuff happened to a bunch of different of the main people that would have been ones to do it, and they weren't going to be able to build their own trucks. So they end up bringing in actual food trucks to feed everybody, but then
Yeah.
they have to pay all those food trucks a ton of money. So theirs end up costing a lot more, a lot less
Yeah.
for them, but they had to pay a lot more. But it was a lot of fun setting it up, and I mean, we found something that just has really worked for our community. I mean, who's not going to come to a food truck Sunday? I mean, the food was
Dude,
it wasn't just like potluck food. Like it was legit like I mean,
yeah.
food truck style food that our people like went all out and desserts. I mean, we had lemon shake up trucks. I mean, it was legit. It
Yeah.
was some like little
I,
come
lo
to food.
I love it. Yeah, I might call you one day and get some more thoughts on how y'all all did it because we're moving into this new church building that we're about finished building now, and
Oh, really?
we got a lot of property where this
Oh,
new
that's
building's
cool.
at, and so we could definitely do some food truck stuff like that. We could definitely
Yeah.
do. I think that would be awesome. So, anyways, if we decide to do something like that, I might call you and pick your brain, see how y'all did it and stuff, and
We had like I think we've I don't know, it's between 15 and 20 different churches at least that have reached out once they saw our video on Facebook and stuff, and they were like, what'd you all do?" And asking us stuff. And I'm like, well, we did this, but the Lord really brought everybody in.
yeah, yeah,
And it was a lot of
for
fun.
sure. Yeah, that's awesome. I'll definitely get with you on that, talk more
Yeah.
about that. But I'd like to see the video. Yeah, I don't think I've seen the
Me
video of it.
too.
Yeah, send it over to me. But
Yep.
anyhow, all right, man. Well, I've enjoyed it. I feel like we've covered a lot of stuff. It's amazing what the Lord's did at your church and what the Lord's doing.
Yeah.
I think we've answered just about all the questions we wanted to try and ask on the case study
I would,
call.
I can't remember if I actually said this or not, but yes, I highly recommend GM Baptist Outreach to
Yeah,
church. And
amen.
I mean, if you put in the work, I think it'll really work for any church, and it is a little bit of a commitment. But
Yeah,
I mean, if you're trying to get people in the door, it's going to be work no matter what. And to be
for
able to have
sure.
something like this work for you and get people that you would never come in contact with if it wasn't for Facebook to come to your church. I mean, man, it's worth all the work and time putting into it. And now I don't even know how many contacts I have, but now we've got hundreds over the last few years that have signed up for, our different big days that we've got their emails, we've
Yeah,
got their phone numbers, and then now through the ones that have come, we've got all their visitor information. So anytime we're doing a big day now, we really hit up all those people. We send them a text message about the
yeah,
big day coming up. We send them an email, and then sometimes we send out flyer something in the mail, like a welcome and trying to get them to come. So if we
yeah,
have the address, like if they came to church before. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff I mean, a database now that we have that is like huge within 2 years that has grown.
yeah,
And so yes, it's
yeah.
worth the
So
money.
yeah, you're just building an audience, of your in your community that now you can reach out to them just consistently, that audience. Yeah, that's awesome, for sure. So I just brought to my mind, as far as just out of all the campaigns y'all have done since y'all started doing the Digital Tract Ministry, about how many visitors you think you've seen, just all together, total. If you used to add them all up, just in the top of your head.
We've only ran four or five total in two
Yeah,
years. Let's see if I can remember off the top of my head if I add them up. I would say in 2 years, just from the ad campaigns we've done, probably uh, around close to 450, I'd say that
yeah,
we've come to church in the last 2 years. And that's off of two food truck Sundays. And then that's two Easter Sundays. And then we did one other random one. I can't remember which
yeah.
campaign that was for, but
Yeah, 450 total visitors. That's awesome from just an outreach method.
yeah.
Yeah, we have churches say all the time, and it's nothing. God has to bless. He has to get the increase. It is no get growth quick scheme. It's just an outreach method that the Lord's just really been blessing. We have churches say all the time that this is some of the best outreach they've ever done as far as that goes. And when it comes to commitment, just like you said, it takes commitment, discipline to actually do it and actually implement it.
Yeah.
But I mean, good night. It takes commitment to do any outreach method. Door knocking, anything you do that you're gonna try and reach people, it's gonna take commitment to. And
Yeah.
I think digital tracks. I mean, it involves money, but it doesn't involve as much time. I feel like than just about
Yeah.
anything else as far as door
Oh, yeah.
knocking and stuff.
Well, like you go door knocking, you're not getting someone's phone number and their email.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't knock on their door and say, "Hey, can I get your phone number and email?" Whereas on Facebook, they sign up, and now you've got a contact information to be
Yeah,
able to keep in contact with them and invite them and giving them a personal invitation, And so, I mean, yeah, it's awesome. I love it, and the
for
Lord's really
sure.
it's a great tool that the Lord's really using,
Yeah,
and if you put in the work, I think you're going to see great results. And I think the Lord honestly will bless your church if you are putting in the work. It's not a
yeah,
replacement for knocking on doors.
yeah,
I think you should still go knock on doors, invite people to wherever you can, invite people to church. I think it's just going to help you and help
yeah.
you get better results and stuff.
For sure. Just another hook in the water, another
Yep.
opportunity. I mean, if
Why not?
Paul was around, I mean, Paul said, I do all these things for the gospel's sake. I would imagine if you could tell Paul he could reach thousands of people,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
with just some money, he'd probably be like, let's take up a love offering. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
That's
I
kidding.
mean, that's just my opinion on that. When
Oh
it
yeah.
comes to Paul, I mean, he did all he could to reach people, so I'm sure he would. But anyways, man, well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you hopping on. I've enjoyed it. And I hope anybody that's on here that watches, we have a lot of people that watch these videos. Hope it inspires you, blesses you. If you're interested in Digital Tract Ministry, you'll find a link to a demo video in the description of the video. So if you want to sign up just to watch a video of what it looks like, set it for a church, like a little diagram I'll walk through, just to give you more information on kind of what it looks like. You can find that in the description. But if y'all have any questions, let us know. Mr. AJ, appreciate your time, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for everything you've done, man. Appreciate you.
All right, brother. Have a blessed
All
rest
right.
of your day.
Yes, sir. You too.
Bye.